that garbage truck that comes by every week? What if I told you it's not just hauling trash? It's a pawn in a massive geopolitical chess match. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to dive into how our everyday garbage has somehow sparked a huge, complicated fight between two of the world's closest allies. And to really get what's going on here, you have to understand the ridiculous scale of the problem. Every single year, the Canadian province of Ontario ships this much solid waste into Michigan. That's, what, 10 Empire State Buildings worth of trash? It's like this invisible river of garbage flowing south day in and day out. And this quote just nails it. This isn't just about finding a landfill anymore. This is about the entire removal chain. You know, the system we never think about that makes our trash just disappear. And that system, we're now finding out, is incredibly fragile. In fact, it's been turned into a weapon. So why? Why is this even happening? How did we get to a point where one country is burying another country's trash? Well, it all boils down to a really simple but really powerful economic force that turned Michigan into a giant magnet for Canadian garbage. It all comes down to this chart right here. The math is kind of mind-blowing. A tipping fee is just the price to dump 1 ton of trash. In Michigan, it was only 36 cents. 36 cents. That is so absurdly low that it was actually cheaper for companies in Ontario to drive their trucks for hundreds of kilometers across an international border than it was to just dump the stuff at home. This one tiny price difference created the entire mess. So here's the problem. That super cheap escape route created a really dangerous dependency. Now Ontario is looking at what people are calling a waste cliff. If the U.S. border suddenly slams shut, all that garbage has nowhere to go. It comes flooding back, and the province's landfills will be totally full years ahead of schedule. It's a ticking clock. And that threat, it just got very, very real. Because it's not about cheap dumping fees anymore. Now there's a new, super complex trade rule in the mix that turns every single garbage truck crossing that border into a ticking financial time bomb. You see, the U.S. is launching this kind of sophisticated, two-pronged attack. It's not just one thing, it's a coordinated squeeze. On one hand, you've got a potential 35% tariff on the waste itself. But then you have this other thing, a crippling 40% penalty that's even more dangerous. And this is it. They call it the transshipment trap. So the new trade deal, the USMCA, says that only a tiny amount of stuff in a shipment, like 10%, can be from outside North America. But just think about your own trash can. It's full of stuff made in China, Vietnam, all over the world. How on earth do you prove a truck full of mixed garbage complies with that rule? You basically can't. So here's how it plays out in the real world. A truck gets to the border, a customs agent peeks inside, sees a broken kid's toy made in China, maybe some old electronics, and boom, the driver gets hit with a penalty worth 40% of the value of the entire truckload. It's the kind of risk that could literally bankrupt a company in a single afternoon. Okay, so the old way is dead. The border is now a financial minefield. This massive threat has forced a complete pivot, a totally new way of thinking. People are realizing this isn't a trucking problem anymore. It's an information problem, and that calls for a tech solution. And this slide just perfectly shows that mental shift. The old model was just chaos. You haul a liability, your trash, to the cheapest hole in the ground you can find. Simple. The new model, this digital refinery idea, is all about precision. It's about taking that exact same pile of junk and turning it into a verifiable digital asset. The goal isn't disposal anymore, it's monetization. So what is a digital refinery? It's really important to get this. We're not talking about a big factory with smokestacks. It's a software system. Its whole purpose is to take messy, raw, unpredictable waste and refine it, not physically, but digitally. It turns it into a structured, valuable, and, this is the key part, completely auditable digital product. Now that sounds great, right? But how does it actually work? I mean, how do you do all this on a muddy construction site where there's no Wi-Fi? So let's pop the hood and see the actual tech that's making this whole thing possible. So the first hurdle you have to clear is the hardware. Your normal smartphone, it's like a sprinter. It can run a really complex AI model for, 20 minutes before it overheats and slows to a crawl. But a specially built industrial device, that's a marathon runner. It's engineered to do that same heavy lifting all day for a full 8-hour shift, and it can do it all completely offline. And this is where the magic really happens. This device becomes an agent. It can see, hear, and reason all at the same time. For example, the on-device AI sees a pile of wood that looks pretty clean, but at the same time, it hears the driver dictate a voice note calling it a demolition deck, which is always high risk. The AI instantly detects that conflict, overrides its own eyes, and flags the load as contaminated, right there on the spot. And it creates a cryptographically signed, undeniable audit trail of that decision. So that on-site agent is just step one. It's part of a two-step system. Out there at the edge, on the job site, the device makes a quick, intelligent guess. But anything it flags as questionable gets sent to a central hub for step two, real scientific proof, using heavy-duty scanners that give you the chemical ground truth. The system is designed to be fast when it can be and absolutely certain when it needs to be. So why go through all this trouble? Because of this number. In Ontario, there's a new levy coming that's going to hit any unverified, non-diverted waste with a $60 per ton penalty. For a waste hauler, that is a huge business-killing liability. But if you have the digital refinery's verifiable, completely auditable proof that your material was handled correctly, that $60 penalty just goes away. It becomes zero. Suddenly, being compliant isn't just about following the rules. It's a massive competitive advantage. And here's where it gets really powerful. That data trail doesn't just save you money. It creates a brand new, high-value asset. This level of forensic proof data is exactly what's required to generate legitimate carbon credits. You're literally turning trash into cash. So let's zoom out for a second. When you see this system in action, you realize it's not just about one company or one pile of wood. This technology has basically opened up an entirely new competitive battlefield, and it's changing an old-school logistics business into something completely different. And this quote just says it all. The whole game has changed. While everyone else is still fighting over the price of diesel and who has the most trucks, a new war has already started. This isn't a trade war fought with tariffs anymore. It's a data war, and it's fought with information. This shift from physically hauling stuff to digitally refining data is happening right now. It is totally changing what it even means to be in the industrial services business. So the question isn't really about garbage anymore, it's about information. The data war is already here. The only question is, are you ready for it?